They become the narcissist who hides behind spiritual language, pretending they're above everyone. To Jung, this wasn't about good or evil, it was about unconscious survival patterns. These people act out of an internal system that is falling apart, so they externalize the confusion. They push their pain outward. They create control outside of themselves because they can't create peace inside of themselves. And if you don't recognize the pattern, you'll tell yourself you just have bad luck in relationships. You'll believe you're always attracting bad people. You'll feel as though life is punishing you. But Jung would tell you, you're not being punished. You're being mirrored. That's the real warning most people miss. You attract what you haven't integrated inside yourself. Think about it. If you keep attracting manipulators, there is probably a part of you that's still afraid of fully standing in your truth. If you're always surrounded by people who act like victims, maybe there's a part of you that still needs to be needed, just to feel worthy. If you're constantly being betrayed by charming and persuasive people, maybe you still place more value on being liked than on having clarity within yourself. That is why this whole message isn't just about who you should avoid. It's about why you allowed them into your life in the first place. And Jung's answer was always the same. It lives in your shadow. The shadow attracts the mask. Your shadow is everything you've repressed in yourself. It's the parts of you people told you were too much, too selfish, too angry, too weird, or not lovable. So you buried them. You became the nice person, you became the helper, you became agreeable, patient, and emotionally aware. You became whatever identity would get you accepted. But here's the cost of that trade. You lost your natural edge, you lost your instincts, you lost your built-in protection system, because when you repress your anger, you put up with disrespect. When you repress your intuition, you overlook red flags. When you repress your ability to protect yourself, you keep letting people in who pretend to love you, but slowly drain the life out of you. Jung wasn't telling you to become cold and unfeeling. He wanted you to become whole. To be whole, you have to stop pretending your love is endless, that your patience has no limits, and that your trust should be given freely to anyone who asks for it. It shouldn't be. Not everyone deserves access to you, especially not people who refuse to live consciously. And here's the difficult truth. Some people are not learning. They're just repeating. They've been the same for 10 years. They're not working on themselves. They're not doing shadow work. They're not growing with you. They were simply changing their words and their image to cover up the exact same patterns they've always had. And unless you become the kind of person who values inner truth over outer harmony, you will keep bending for people who wouldn't even move an inch for you. That's why Jung emphasized awareness. If what you've heard so far feels heavy, that's actually a good sign. It means something inside you is waking up. It means you're tired of being the easy target. It means the version of you that always needed to be liked, that always felt responsible for fixing everyone, that always had to play the good person. It's finally exhausted. And that's a powerful place to be. So what do you do now? First, take a hard look at your circle. Ask yourself, who leaves me drained every time I talk to them? Who always leaves me second-guessing myself? Who am I constantly explaining my intentions to, just so they don't misunderstand me? If someone always needs extra explanations just to treat you right, they're not really confused. They're just dodging accountability. And you don't need to carry that anymore. Let them go. Silently, without guilt. Jung believed that withdrawing your energy can be one of the strongest acts of self-respect. Not because you hate them, but because you refuse to keep abandoning yourself just to keep fake peace. Second, give your shadow a voice. Stop trying to be perfect all the time. Let yourself say no when you mean it. Let yourself feel anger when someone disrespects you. Let yourself question people's intentions when something feels off. Your shadow isn't evil. It's protective. It is the part of you that remembers who you really are when someone tries to gaslight you into forgetting. Let that part of you rise again. As Jung said, you don't become stronger by pretending to be pure light. You grow by becoming conscious of your darkness. If you want peace, stop performing for it. Start integrating the part of you that can walk away, that can set boundaries, that can calmly say, "I'm not available for this anymore." Third, stop explaining yourself to people who don't deserve it. The right people won't need constant explanations for your boundaries. They'll respect them naturally. They'll feel your clarity. But the toxic ones will demand that you explain every move. They'll guilt-trip you. They'll paint you as the problem. Let them. Jung never believed in wasting time convincing unconscious people to finally see your worth. He believed in becoming so firmly grounded in yourself that their confusion doesn't slow you down anymore. Fourth, learn to trust what you felt the very first time. Most of the time, you weren't confused. You were hoping you were wrong, but you weren't. That moment you noticed the energy shift. That moment your gut hesitated. That moment you felt something was slightly off. That wasn't paranoia. That was your subconscious recognizing patterns before your conscious mind caught up. Start listening to it. The people Jung warned about don't usually show up with warning labels. They show up with charm. They show up with compliments. They show up with emotional stories that make you want to help. They show up with words about alignment, healing, or being vulnerable. But in time, the truth always shows. And when it does, you want to be far enough away that it no longer costs you anything. And here's the final word. Jung didn't want you to go through life afraid of other people. He wanted you to stop being afraid of your own awareness. The more you accept and integrate your shadow, the less toxic people can get close to you. Not because you're hiding, but because your energy doesn't give them a way in anymore. You stop explaining. You stop fixing. You stop lowering your standards just to be accepted. And without raising your voice, you become someone no manipulator can fool, no narcissist can play, and no competitor can shake. Because you have finally become the kind of person Jung wanted you to be, awake, whole, and impossible to trick.